Mate, because it's all water, it's all midges.
To stop meeting like this, and then by the fifth time it's just awkward, isn't it?
Hello everyone, welcome to another disused railway explore. You may recall quite a few videos ago now I was in the city of Derby and I was looking at the remains of the Great Northern Railway, the Friargate line. Now I ended that video at a bridge that went under what was a small road, which is now, as you can hear, a very busy one. That's where I ended the walk. This one I'm starting just on the other side of that dual carriageway. I'm going to try and find the track bed now, and I'm going to stomp through Mickleover, through Etwall, all the way up to Egginton Junction, which was where this Derbyshire Staffordshire extension began. I'm already in the stingers. Okay, so down here is the track bed. It's not a river, honest. This is the track bed of the Great Northern Railway. Now it becomes a path a little bit later on called the Great Northern Greenway. That's going to be slightly more fun than this. So I'm going to come to the side of this now. I'm going to walk up and try and find what's left of Mickleover Tunnel. So a bit of a recap when it comes to the Great Northern Railway. It was built in 1878. Basically so the Great Northern Railway could access the massive coal deposits in Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. They were trying to get lines in here and there, but the Midland Railway, who had the massive monopoly, basically wasn't playing ball. So the collieries got together, leaders of industry got together, and these Great Northern Railway fellas got together and pushed to get another railway built, because obviously because the Midland Railway was the only railway coming into this coalfield, they could set the prices for the coal mine owners who weren't happy about that. The line closed to passengers at basically different stages. It closed, as a lot of them did, in 1939 at the start of the Second World War, but it then reopened for kind of holiday traffic and excursions and stuff like that. But generally it was only then, after the Second World War, open to freight. Sorry, goods. I get in trouble saying freight because it's an Americanism. My dad's always at me. Goods. It was closed to goods in 1968. So there's the track bed down there, still running water. But here's a clue. Obviously this is filled in, but this was a bridge. There's a little bit of fencing still remaining there. It's all filled in. It's all filled in the other side as well. So again, I'm going to have to sort of cling to the path that goes alongside the line. Okay, so I've skirted round and the track bed is down there. Again, all flooded. Now this was the mouth of Mickleover Tunnel, which unfortunately is long gone, and I could possibly be long gone as well if I lose my footing. I'm going to try and get down a little bit closer. Right, I'll film me in case I stack it, as always. Mate, because it's all water, it's all midges. Yeah, that's not flying. Well, I went flying. There's your evidence, Your Honour. Right, I've not picked the best time of year for this. Okay, so that cutting ends abruptly because they filled it all in. But when you see pictures of Mickleover Tunnel, it's gutting really, because it's one of those awesome like double track tunnels, dead like majestic looking. It's awesome, but it's long gone, unfortunately. So the line, the other side of Derby Friargate, which we've explored before, that station, that was lifted in 68 when the line went. The part from Derby Friargate to Eggington, which is where we're walking, was then kept open as a test track up until 1971. But yeah, like I say, the wind's picked up now as well for some reason. The bit from Mickleover Station, which is what we're about to come to in a sec, the bit from there to Eggington then remained open after 1971 up until the 90s. So I'm hoping for plenty of remains, because obviously in sort of railway terms, that's not that long ago. So there's the tunnel mouth basically in those trees, but it's not, it's buried. And that little line of trees there, it does actually follow the track bed, weirdly, although the track bed is going underneath it. And then the other tunnel mouth is at the other end. Again, that's all filled in. But you can't get to that, so I'm going to walk round, follow this path through basically where that person is there with the dog, onto Station Road. Okay, so we've come round. That pub just through there is called the Great Northern, which is obviously a bit of a nod and a wink. There's the bridge. And then we come down here now towards Mickleover Station. It's interesting when you see pictures of Mickleover Station as it was, and also maps, because it was pretty rural. Like, this was kind of, you know, outskirts of Derby, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But now, because there's so many big developments all around it, housing developments and stuff, actually this would be this would be a busy station now. If it was still a station, get trains into Nottingham, trains into Derby, and trains off to Burton the other way, I reckon you'd have a decent sort of clientele. But there's the station. They've done a great job with that, look. That looks great. But there again is the station, looking amazing. I'll put up a few old pictures of that and a bit of aerial footage and stuff, because there's people in there, it's people's houses, so I'm always conscious of, do you know what I mean, filming someone's house. If I was stood in my window and some plonker like me was pointing his camera at me, I'd be, you know, less than impressed probably. Just trying to work out if this is a bit of a platform. Potentially, there's a bit of work going on. You can hear like workmen and stuff building another new house. But yeah, this is, you can just see where it's raised there, there's the fence. There's a bit of platform there. So that would be, this is where the track bed was then, through here. Double track, main line. And then they use this as a test track from here up until the 90s. So I'm hoping there'll be a few bits and bobs from you know, those rail development days. I was looking at a few old photos, and they kind of go back to sort of about 2004. There were some structures here that were to do with the rail development. So I think you had a wind tunnel, and there was another couple of structures, but all I'm seeing now is you know, concrete on the floor, which is probably just the foundations of them. I imagine they've long gone. Quite a lot of concrete. There's sort of a concrete frame there, which I think is the outline of the foundation, of this kind of corrugated iron building that was here as part of that test track. Okay, so I've got a track bed to walk on now, so hopefully I won't be stacking it again. You know, I sent that little clip to Phil and to my wife, thinking these are two people that, you know, like my wife will have sympathy because she's my wife, and Phil will have sympathy because he does these walks and clambers as well. Phil just went, "About time." That was his response. And my wife's response was like a cry face emoji, so at least I'm well supported. Anyway, it's an interesting one, because I was saying, like, this closed as a main line, and these stations closed as a main line in 1939 with the coming of the Second World War. But then they remained open for excursions and stuff like that. But each station had a different life. So Derby Friargate was open till excursions until 64. This one was, Mickleover, was open till excursions until 59. Etwall was open till excursions until about, it might have been 62 actually, slightly later than this one. And then Eggington at the end, that was open until the early 50s. So it's kind of, it was all kind of a bit staggered. But I guess with this one, if you can get a train from here, you probably get a train from Derby if you're going on an excursion. So I guess that was maybe part of it. Here's some more remains. So this was a footbridge that came across. As you can see, it's just the two stanchions now, but there was a footbridge that went across there that may well have provided access to this station site. Because, you know, you look at that and you think that could have been farm access, but I am pretty sure from what I've read that this was a footbridge. Okay. So like I say, this is called the Great Northern Greenway. There is a Great Northern Greenway the other side, which was where the Derby Racecourse station was, which was where I was walking before, if you remember, before I came into the city of Derby. So it's got the same name, but it's, you know, obviously the other side of the city. This will take us all the way out to Etwall, all the way out to Egginton Junction, where the Derby Crewe line, which was part of that North Staffordshire Railway back then, is still active. So there's another structure there. Although to be fair, That one, that looks more like a foot crossing, doesn't it, because of its width. Maybe that one back there was farm access then back there. I'll have a look on a map. In a bit of a wind tunnel now, so I apologise for that. There's loads of banging going on as well. There seems to be just houses being built everywhere around here. I don't know who can afford to buy them. But when this remained open as a test track, because obviously it was a main line before, double track, you know, when they turned it into a test track in 1968, it was then just single track. And when you see some of the pictures of the trains that they were testing on here, they're like during the 70s and stuff, they're like proper quirky looking trains that I don't think ever made it to use at all. Quite you know, futuristic looking things, which like I say, I've never seen them in use. I don't remember them from when I was a kid and I was travelling on trains in the early 80s, so I don't remember ever seeing them. Oh, sort of wasp land on my arm. There's lots of things I like about obviously walking in the countryside, walking on old railway lines. One being the fact that I love trains and I love history and stuff. Another being that you can be in a city like Derby, which is a pretty big city nowadays, to be fair, quite a sprawling place, and it don't take long, because I ain't been walking that long, to, do you know what I mean, just be, you can hear the birds and stuff. And the other thing as well is that I find that people are at least 50% more friendly once you get them out of the city. And I know I've probably said this before, but you know, you walk past someone in the city centre, you go, "You're right, mate." They'll look at you like, "What? Do I know you?" But you say hello in the countryside, don't you? Everyone just does. "Hello, mate." "Hello, mate. Nice day, innit? Yeah, it's lovely." It'd be nice if people were more friendly everywhere else, but there you go. Oh, mate. Winner, winner. There we go, look at that. It's an old signal gantry. Controlled by hand then, by the look of that. Look at that. Amazing. Blinking, you'd miss that, wouldn't you? Hiding away in the trees. It's a nice little find though, I'm happy with that. Here we go. There's the first sort of intact bridge. Like, we've seen a couple of stanchions, haven't we? But this is the first one that's still obviously being used by a farmer or a landowner or whatever. 3 arches as well. Look at that. Do a bit of repointing. And onwards we go. This bit of the line must have been an absolute godsend for the Great Northern Railway, because I know they were short on cash in the end, which was why Friargate Station ended up being a nice station, but not this big, huge, grand station like it was meant to be. Because you had Morley Tunnel, Mickleover Tunnel, which we tried to have a look at, but it's all filled in earlier. You also had Bennerley Viaduct, which is like an incredible structure. Bredsall Viaduct, which is an incredible structure. So, and then you had actually a huge viaduct that came through the city of Derby on a big viaduct. So all this infrastructure was all Wonga, obviously. But this section, whilst it's on an embankment, that's the first proper, you know, big structured bridge that we've gone across. So like I say, this would have been a godsend to them, this bit. They could, you know, could save a few quid on this particular section of the line. Here we go, excuse the sun. So this is that bridge. Now, from looking at that, that's single track, but it's not, obviously, because this was a double track line. So we can just look through there. There you go. You can see the stonework. There was another bridge over. It's all overgrown, which is a bit annoying, but that's obviously the test track. But there was another the other side as well, carrying this main line. Let's say that, and then this one's actually kind of hidden. Doesn't look like a bridge there, but if you just see the middle section, you can see, and that goes to show that, you know, this was double track main line, with only this bit that we're walking on, you know, used as the test track. That's where the second line was there. So there's 2 bridges in quick succession. So maybe it did cost a few quid then. We're just coming up to that busy road now. That dual carriageway, you might be able to hear it. Got to come off the line at that bit. Not sure quite how or you know, how it works, but I know you can get back on it. So I'm hoping I don't have to play, do you know what I mean, chicken run on a dual carriageway. There's another bridge, looks like another 3-arch job. And then on the left in a bit, there was the site of Etwall Gasworks, I don't know what's left of that at all, but I did have a look online and I did see that actually there are some buildings in the position of the gasworks. So whether they're, you know, remains or whether they're just built a house on top of them, I don't actually know. So as we'll see when we get there. There you go. Prob's not. Okay, so we're coming up to the road now. There doesn't seem to be any remains of that gasworks, you know. I think the map's been telling me fibs. I'm not sure if there's any remains of anything here at all, because obviously there wasn't an actual bridge there, so there's not going to be any bridge remains, because this dual carriageway came later. So they've basically just gone bosh on top of the line. So we'll come round. Okay, so we're going underneath that new dual carriageway. Now, if I've done my sums right, on the other side you should be able to see some remains, I'm hoping, of that original road, the original Etwall road. We'll see. Hello mate, alright. Okay, so the line should be in those trees there somewhere. Here we go. So it looks like the actual road is still there, or at least the bridge is. Yeah, all good. So that road has severed it, and this is the original road, say into, I guess, Etwall, definitely Hilton, and up towards the A50. But if you look at the overgrowth on the top, you know, that's not used for road anymore. But it's another bit of infrastructure. I'm happy with that. We're not far now from, oh there we go, Sutton Lane Bridge. We're not far now from the site of Etwall Station. Sun's gone in now, so I can take my glasses off. Over there was Etwall Hall. So this big massive house. They've knocked it down now. I think there's tennis courts and football pitches, so maybe it's like a private school or something now, I'm not sure, but it was a hall of some distinction, I believe. We should go underneath another bridge, and then that's the site of Etwall Station, but that's gone. They knocked that down, unfortunately. I think quite late on, actually. I think they knocked it down in the 80s, actually, which is sad. So there's another signal post just as you're coming into Etwall Station, just under that bridge. So those tennis courts and football pitches are not actually a private school, it's Etwall Leisure Centre, which I should know really because I was offered a job there once. Okay, this, I'm pretty sure, is Etwall Station that we're coming into now. There's all modern houses built. There were quite a few big sidings there, and hang on a minute. I was not expecting that. I was really not expecting that. Wow. I did not expect to see sleepers still in place. Wow. That's a bit of a bonus, that one. Okay, so I'll show you this view back. The images of Etwall Station, you can see the bridge. So there it is, so platforms either side. And then here where these houses are, you had quite a big sort of sidings complex. Oh mate, look, the sun's done me there. Look at that. There's loads more left on this line than I thought. There's another double bridge, look. Just over the brook. Okay. Not far out of Eggington now. The A50 tunnel. Yeah, train's not getting through that. So this has been built obviously after the line's closed. Either that or the train's had to duck. So as I say, this line remained open until 1968 for freight, most of which was coal coming from the Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire Nottinghamshire coalfield. But one of the other companies that used it was Eggington Dairy, which is right on the side of the line, and I'm pretty sure there's still like the original chimney, the original Victorian chimney of that is still standing. I think it is still a dairy now, but it's all been modernised obviously as they do, but I'm pretty sure the original structure is still there, just to the left of this line, because as I say, we're not far now from the end. I'm shattered, you know. And what's mad is my wife's got netball tonight, and I'm keep looking at the clock and I'm running out of time. So actually, when I finish filming this walk, once I get to Eggington and say goodbye to you lot, I'm gonna have to run this back. It's about 5 miles, so I'm gonna have to run that back, make sure I get home to look after the 2 little ones so my wife can go off and play netball. Parent life, innit? Parent railway fan life. It looks like the bottom of a little permanent way gang hut, that. The geek in me is well chuffed saw those 2 signal gantries. So we get to the junction, there's more ballast kicking around now, and there's another 3-arch bridge. Seemed to be their sort of signature of the Great Northern Railway, really. Big deep cuttings and 3-arch bridges. So I've done obviously Derby city centre, all the Great Northern remains. I've done Bentley Viaduct, the Great Northern Railway. Now I've done Derby to almost Eggington, just about to get there. When I first moved to Derby, I lived just off Reigate all those years ago, so I've always kind of had a bit of a love for the Great Northern Railway, really, a bit of an interest. So I used to walk under that Reigate bridge most days to get into town, so I've always had an interest in it. So I do want to complete the length of it. I'm kind of doing that in a bit of a disjointed manner, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? I'm doing like little walks here and there, but I will complete all of it in the end. And obviously once I've done that, then I can just stick it in a playlist and pretend that I did it all at the same time. People just have to ignore the extra greys and the beard length differences and all those various things. We can just use our imagination. Why not? Right, wind's annoying, but I wasn't fibbing. So there's that tower then from the dairy. A nice Victorian tower left over. Like I say, I think most of it's been kind of redeveloped, but it's nice that there's little things holding on from the past. There's a Derby Crewe line. You can see the bridge. Excuse the sunshine. There's that tower, and it doesn't appear to have, you know, telephone communication stuff all over it, as a lot of them do. You know, these beautiful sort of Victorian structures that have managed to survive, and then they've, you know, stick on mobile phone things on it and kill it a bit, but this one they've not done that. So there would have been a siding here. I'm guessing there would have been a loading bay where they would have loaded up the wagons with milk. I don't know how much of that's left. I'm pointing directly into the sun, which is an absolute stitch. So here we go. So would there have been a track that went through there? I'm not entirely sure. I'll have a look again, map job. And then the line continued. Again, this becomes a bit of a near-death experience, doesn't it, with the lighting? And then through there. So that's the end of the line. Walk from Derby to Egginton Junction on the Great Northern Railway. As always, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. I've got to leg it back now. Stay lucky. See ya.